In the name of God, the gracious, the merciful, we give him praise and thanks for his mercy and his goodness to the human family. If all the trees upon the earth were pens to write with, and if all the oceans were ink, and then another 7 oceans to add to its supply, the writing would still not be enough to explain the glory of God, for he's the exalted, all-powerful, all-wise. We confide in no other in our time of need, and we praise no other in our good fortune. He is one. And even if I lived to be 1,000, it would still not be enough to thank God for his many blessings and gifts. So again, this is Brother Sharif with the Hour of Power. Go to Hour of Power Sharif Hamid on YouTube, subscribe and share the channel so we can continue to lift the mind, body, and soul of our people. Before we get into this powerful and much needed interview tonight with my good brother here, next Monday at 6 p.m., God willing, the Black Love Movement and Latino Unidos in Casa, we will meet out West End once again to reach our people in the streets. We were out this past Monday, and some of our brothers and sisters from the Latino community, Casa, we went out and they handled the voter registration piece, and I handled just trying to talk and lift the mind, body, and soul of our people. I don't know if I'll be here because I'm handling some things with my mother, and I may be out the country, but that doesn't stop what we need to do. So we're going to meet on the corner of King and West Street at Lincoln Charter School at 6 p.m. This Monday coming up, which will be the 20th. So please come out and encourage others to come. Before we get started, just want to give thanks to my good sister Alicia, who helps us make this ship go. It isn't as easy and as simple as it looks. So I always like to give gratitude and thanks for those who help with the struggle. Just because you see the Mercedes-Benz, you still got to give thanks to the engine that makes the Mercedes-Benz go. So thank you, Queen, for all your help and hard work, what you do to make the Hour of Power go. So without no further ado, have a very special guest tonight on the Hour of Power, my good brother, Dommonick Chatman. Introduce yourself, brother.
Thank you, Brother Sharif. My name is Dommonick Chatman. Lifelong friend of Brother Sharif here. We go back more than 35 years. Hate the fact that I can say that, but it's true. Was born and raised here in York, product of the York City School District, and I came back home as a financial consultant. And now I'm involved in some economic and community development, see what we can do to make York a better place for all of us.
Right, and it has been that long that that we've known each other. I was there on Maple Street, and you were there, on Kurtz Ave. We would, play pitch up football, the whole nine. Come in your house, yeah. We play getting to heated battles with playing basketball, football, but it was different, back in those days. Even if we had a disagreement, it never turned into some of the things that we see going on now. We were all a family.
Yeah, that
was
the difference.
We came into each other's home. I was even, welcome at your uncle's house, which was right next door. Mr. Curie and Miss Wanda, and all your family. We was a family, up and down the block. And as I was, preparing for the show today, I was really, reminiscing on that and just thinking of how much of a family we were. And it almost got me choked up a little bit. I hope you don't mind me mentioning it. I remember one time we were on, I was on the block, and we used to have the bikes and all that stuff. And one time I think we were playing on the McKinley part, and I wasn't paying attention, and my bike got missing. And those mongoose bikes wasn't too cheap, back in the day. And come to find out, our good brother, he's no longer with us, Kurt Langford. He had mysteriously got on my bike and took it around the way, and I was scared to death. I'm like, how am I going to explain this to my dad? So I went home. My dad was like, "Where's your bike at?" I was like, I don't know what happened to it. Man, he gave me the business for that. So the next day I came and I was looking for you. Now I would always knock on the door. And that day, I mean, it was so long ago, I don't know where you was. And I hope you don't mind me mentioning, your brother Harry answered the door. And I said, is Dommonick here? He said, nah, he's not here right now. He said, but I think I have something that you may have been looking for. And I wasn't even thinking about it. I thought that bike was gone. Yeah. Man, he wheeled it out of the kitchen and said, didn't you think you was missing this? My eyes just got that big. He was like, he said, man, you need to watch your stuff, man. And he just walked away like it wasn't nothing. I was like, man, I'll take that to my grave, man.
Yeah, we was family, man.
So bless his soul, brother Harry, Dommonick's brother, and of course India and your beautiful mom. So, that's what it was. That was real family.
Yes, it was.
So, you got the Chatman group, and it's a lot of important things coming up, in the community that we really need. That, hey, you got your copy, I got mine. I've been looking at it. That African American Leadership Roundtable 2, and I can't thank you enough for inviting me to the meeting the other day at Cornerstone Baptist Church, 629 South Pershing Avenue on September the 8th. It'll be from 9 to 4, a workshop, but I'm going to let you explain it and explain the importance of it.
Yep. What we have coming up, like Brother Sharif mentioned, is the African American Leadership Roundtable 2. This will be the start of what we will call the Black Collective. We are bringing in nationally renowned experts to discuss subject matters like politics, diversity and inclusion, education, workforce development. Here in York, we've seen a lot of development take place right in front of us. And unfortunately, there aren't many communities involved, if that was the right word to use. There's not a lot of diversity right now in everything that's taking place here in York City and York County. So that's one of the main reasons we got this thing together here. So this Black Collective, like I said, we will discuss education. How do we improve our education system here? We got a lot of people discussing the school system and the ranking at 495. But let's talk about how we got to that 495. It didn't happen overnight. It's not a problem that the school district created themselves. This is our community. This is our problem. We must fix this together. So let's talk about how we got to that 495. Let's look at the history of York City and York County. And if we talk about education and a struggling education system, all boils around capital and finances. Every school district that ranks low typically is underfunded, just like the York City School District. Well, let's look at York City's income per individual, not per capita, but per individual. If the average person is only making $13,000 a year in York City, that's extreme poverty.
Right.
These are the conditions that lead to that 495 ranking. Mom's working 2 and 3 jobs just to try to keep food on the plate for the kid. And she still got to try to do homework with the kid, and she got to attend parent-teacher conferences. Again, this is our community. We all have to chip in and help mom out. We can't blame, we can't point fingers at the school district, can't point fingers at individual parents. Look at yourself in the mirror and say, what have you done lately to help out?
And these issues that you have mentioned, sad to say, it almost seems like a blueprint, because me just coming from Durham, if I was to snap my finger and pop up there right now, and I did the same thing in Durham almost that I'm doing here. I was a counselor in the school system. I worked with families, worked with children that had behavior and mental, emotional problems. It's the same thing. You could take this same platform that you have and boom, and it would fit like a piece to a puzzle. Exactly. Right there. So with that, I think I already gave the answer to it. But with that being said, do you think that's accidental, or do you think it's almost a blueprint that almost any urban city you could go to, this program would fit and be needed?
this is what you just mentioned, the blueprint for inner city communities.
Mm-hmm.
Eliminate a good education. Eliminate good paying jobs. What do you have left? You have people left struggling for the few jobs that remain. You have people struggling to get out of the city, out to a better school district. Mm-hmm. Those are the dynamics that happen when
mm-hmm. Now, I'm glad you brought that up about the factors. So a naysayer may say, well, we got the baseball stadium here now. We didn't have that when we were in school. Let's say someone in our age range. We got what used to be Isaac's. We got plenty of businesses downtown that wasn't even here 10, 15 years ago. That's making York better. What would you say to that?
Well, there's been a lot of good development has taken place, but again, there's no inclusion in this development. So let's talk about Isaac's, for example.
Mm-hmm.
When you bring a restaurant like that downtown, you have the people who live in the city, live there 7 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
Population in New York is 40-some thousand. Majority of those people who live in the city don't patronize Isaac's. Isaac's was put downtown for the people who work in the city. Got about 40-50,000 people that commute, maybe even more, that commute into York City for work. So Isaac's, if they don't strive between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. downtown York, it's a ghost town. There's no way a business can sustain off of breakfast and lunch. It's not going to happen.
And it's not there anymore.
It's not there anymore.
Were any people of color working there?
Yes, they did have some people of color working there. So yeah, they did not discriminate in regards to the service they provided. But that wasn't something, if they would have done some type of survey, I don't think the majority of the York City residents would have chose Isaac's as the restaurant to come down there. But as we speak about Isaac's, those are private developments. So we don't have say so in what goes in down there. So we can't complain and shouldn't even be mad about it. If we want to have a restaurant downtown that we want to go to, create the restaurant. We need to own these things. We can't get mad and point fingers because someone else is thriving and someone else is doing well and taking advantage of a situation. York is a gold mine of opportunity. Because the infrastructure was so old, someone needed to develop downtown.
Now, that's a very good point. I never looked at it that way, especially with me being, new back in town. I'm still feeling my way around of, the different dynamics of things. Now, I know before I left, one of the barriers, so to speak, of business downtown, they said the rental space is so expensive. Remember Mr. Rawson with the record store?
Yep.
I used to actually have a small stock in his store. It wasn't much, but I was just trying to be business minded, and he said it's so expensive to maintain something, because remember he used to be on with that Beaver, and then he moved to Philadelphia, and then we have our brother Poe with the bookstore, which that really broke my heart. And he hung in there, as long as he could. So what would you say, is that accurate about it's hard for, us to sustain a building down there or space?
Well, if you're going to be downtown in any city, typically that's going to be your higher rents, your higher leases downtown. So again, why are we renting? Buy the building. Don't lease from someone, buy the building. You make money when you're an owner. You spend money when you're a leaseor. So buy the building. Then there are no issues as far as rent rate. You eliminate
someone
rent.
putting you out.
Exactly. And that's what we have to focus on, is ownership, whether it be home ownership, owning your own business, investing. But we have to have ownership. We have to have capital if you want to accomplish anything. Picketing and boycotting, those days, in my opinion, are behind us. Now it's about creating your own. And we have to come together so that we can create our own.
Right. With this conference here, What is the goal, or what are you looking at afterwards to start? Because I remember earlier we were talking about, keeping the momentum going. I think that's the context we were talking about. What are they looking at after this? We'll run down, because I want to keep pushing this, because we don't just want the same.
No, we want
people
everyone
there.
to attend.
Right, because it's for
everyone
everyone.
to attend this event here. If you're an African American in York City and York County, you need to be at Cornerstone Baptist Church on September the 8th from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. What we want to come out of this will be the Black Collective. The Black Collective will be a group of people, hopefully majority of us who attend this get involved with the Black Collective, but we will lead initiatives to continue not just talks about education, but actively becoming engaged in our education system. Not just talks about economic and community development, but actually putting plans and executing plans regarding economic development and community development. We're going to get more involved in local politics. We're going to make sure there is some type of diversity and inclusion policies here in York City and York County. That is our goal. That is what will come out of this African American Leadership Roundtable too.
And if anyone has any questions or comments for our good brother, because he's dropping some heavy information, the call-in number, Sister Alicia Alupit, on the screen for our viewers, 717-846-5067. That's 717-846-5067. Some of the viewers, Dommonick, said buying a building is easier said than done, and they want to know what your recommendations are for entrepreneurs that aren't in a position to invest in real estate.
Well, let's get you into that position where you can invest in real estate. Let's start by looking at your personal finances. Anyone looking to become an entrepreneur, you got to clean up your own house first. So look at your personal finances. Do you have good credit? If not, work on your credit first. Are you saving more than you're spending? That is the golden rule. If you're spending more than you're saving, you're not going in the right direction. Do you have a mentor? Do you have a plan in place? Have you sat down with any organizations that can put you in the right direction? So a lot of entrepreneurs, they get intimidated because of all the factors that come into play at the beginning. A lot of people may think, oh, I don't have a bunch of money. Well, not every business needs a lot of money. You can create an LLC in the state of Pennsylvania for $125.
Wow.
$125 is the fee to create an LLC in the state of Pennsylvania. Now, if you go to a company, myself, for example, or any other organization, obviously they'll charge a fee to prepare that for you. But $125 to create an LLC. If you just want to be a sole proprietor, it's what, $70 to set up a business in the state of Pennsylvania. Becoming an entrepreneur is about doing what you say. It ain't about looking the part or acting the part. It's about doing what you say you're going to do. If you want to buy real estate, number one, read up on real estate. Learn the do's and the don'ts. If you don't have cash, find somebody who has cash. If you don't have management experience, find someone who has management experience. Whatever piece of the puzzle you're missing, go find someone who has that piece.
And you help with all those things, like
Yes,
with
we
the
do.
business plans and preparing for all that. You just don't do the credit part, which is important. You help with the business plan and preparing for whatever entrepreneurial endeavors that you have.
Yes. What we do at the Chatman Group is we try to take people from living paycheck to paycheck to eventually one day owning your own business. So first we'll sit down, help you learn how to manage your money so that you're not spending, again, more than what you're making. We help you improve your credit. We help you buy a home. We help you invest in real estate. And we help you start your own business. We're not out here trying to work with companies like an IBM or an Apple. We focus on the individual person who simply might be a little intimidated by going to SCORE. So come sit down and talk with us first. We'll prepare you for SCORE. If you want to go meet with Community First Fund, come sit down with us. We'll prepare you for Community First Fund.
Okay. And I believe in us sticking together and building up what's already there. I did a short talk a couple weeks ago, and this is my word with this brother, with Antoine Dorm with Stick and Move. I actually had him on here a couple weeks ago, and I told him, for selfish reasons, I want to try to help him be in a place where no one ain't putting him out. There's no reason for him to be getting put out with the service that he's offering. Does your business help with grant writing? Because he said he needs sponsors, but I'm not well versed in that. I just said I will help get the word out there with maybe barbershops, hair salons, but I'm not well versed in that. I'm a counselor and a therapist. Like, what could we do just real quick to help support that brother? Because he's already there, but if you're in a position where someone could put you out, it goes right back to what you just said.
Exactly. Our company does not assist with grants. We are not grant writers.
Okay.
But you answered the question with a statement you made a second ago, and create our own. Let's lend to each other. Let's create our own revolving loan fund. Let's open up our own bank. That will eliminate some of the barriers that we face right now. I could probably find 10 people right now who I know here in York that if we invest our money together, we can open up our own bank. We can provide loans to one another. Antoine Durham shouldn't have to go outside of our community for a facility for stick and move boxing, considering what he's doing for our kids.
Right. That's what I'm talking about.
Our community should be helping him buy a building. And what you get then is now you got community investment. You got community buy-in. Now everybody's vested in stick and move boxing. Everybody wants to see stick and move prosper.
And real quick, Dommonick, what would be the first steps, like the first ground steps, like to get that going? Like if we wanted to, help him have a sustainable building so he can continue to help these children.
It could be a grassroots effort where we get a group of, let's say we got 20 people who are like-minded. We get together and make this investment. We can create some type of a land bank where we go out and we're purchasing real estate. And again, York, and if you're involved in real estate here in York City or York County, you can get some properties pretty cheap.
Right.
And profit off of them. But we can create a land bank. Let's purchase these properties, put them in a land bank, use the equity from that to help Mr. Dorm out. Let's get together and create an investment fund on a monthly basis. There's several things that we can do on a grassroots level that would lead up to the larger institutional level. But we have to start together.
Right. And thanks, Sister Tanya Thompson Morgan. She posted the website link for the African American Leadership Roundtable 2 conference. So she posted that. So that should help get the word out with this. Is anything else that you want to talk about this? Because it's so loaded. Is anyone from York
we will have local panelists. So what we have, our speakers include Dr. Jamie Bracey, educational psychologist from Temple University, Harold Epps, commerce director from the city of Philadelphia, Ed Gainey, a state representative out of Pittsburgh, George Burrell, Esquire, advisory council on diversity and inclusion, city of Philadelphia, and we have Joanne Bell, the founder of Black Women Leadership Council from Philadelphia. So these are the expert panelists that are coming to York. We will also have local experts who are going to speak on these subject matters also.
Okay. And again, that's Saturday, September the 8th, Cornerstone Baptist Church, which is formerly
Shiloh.
629 South Pershing Avenue, and it's pretty much all day, 9 to 4. So definitely come out, try to bring someone with you. I mean, we're in dire straits, people. We cannot keep doing the same thing. Like when we were hitting the streets the other day, anyone knows me, I'm not typically a political person, but I'm willing to learn, and I'm willing to do whatever is wholesome that's going to help lift the mind, body, and soul of our people. And talking about politics, when I was out West End the other day, what I noticed was we had CASA with us, and they actually had the forms. And my brother Anu Banks with the movement, with Sister Tanya and Brother Ray, they have a great movement going on. That's the name of their group. And Brother Anu will tell you, we could hardly get anyone of African descent to register to vote. They said, I ain't fooling up with that. And I understood where they were coming from, but the Latino people were signing up left and right. And the only thing that stopped is it started raining around 8 o'clock. I mean, they was signing them up left and right. And I'm kind of caught in between because I've never been a political person. I've seen no matter what president is in office, no matter what party, Black America looks the same. Oh, yeah. So what would you say about, I don't know, I've never had that kind of direct conversation with you. Is this something that is going to be the vehicle to free us, or what's your take on it? Because I don't want to put no words in your mouth.
I'm not all that into politics. I don't like touching on the subject, but the importance of voting is extremely critical right now in York City.
Okay.
It is extremely critical. If you haven't noticed, the landscape of downtown has changed completely, which means the voting powers are shifting completely. Mm-hmm. So if you want your voice heard, if you're unhappy with anything you see going on, or if you're happy with what you see going on, get out and vote. Mm-hmm. Voting will never harm you in any way. Not voting will. Not voting will harm you. Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the answer I wanted to hear. And I have some great news. Miss Thompson said with the event on September the 8th, it'll be free lunch. So I remember I was getting ready to hit the streets one time, and the sister said, will there be any food there? I was like, nah, it's not that kind of a get together. But she said it'll be free lunch there. And my good brother Angelo out of Greensboro, North Carolina, because I just came from that area, he wants to know, how do you feel about establishing a Black Wall Street in this area? Which you're basically
East Princess Street.
Huh?
East Princess Street. We need to create a Black Wall Street. Mm-hmm. That would do wonders for the future generations to come. That would give them something that would inspire them, something that they could look up to in a positive light here in York. Mm-hmm. We need to have something visual that our kids see. Mm-hmm. If we want them to walk the straight and narrow, if we want them to be productive citizens as adults, we have to paint that picture for them. Black Wall Street is needed here. Mm-hmm.
And that's a mouthful what you just said, because that's really coming down and speaking the language of the youth. You can even break it down to a sports analogy. You know, when the season, when the football season starts, the basketball season starts, especially back in our time, typically who everyone was claiming, the Lakers, the Celtics, Bulls, the Bulls. Why? Because they were a winning team. No one wants to be on a losing team. Mm-hmm. I don't hear no one claiming the Cleveland Browns. Why? Because there's nothing to talk about. So until we, create that atmosphere, it's going to be hard, to reel them in on a political level, business. It's something that's needed. And talking about the Black Wall Street that Brother Angelo talked about during those turbulent times, that was in the 1920s in Tulsa, Oklahoma, called the Greenwood, Alpine, and I forget what the other street was. A lot of people don't know. That is where the Gap Band got their name from, was from there in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Gap stands for Greenwood, A stands for Alpine, and I forget what the P stands for, but those were the three main blocks in that 21 block area, what they called the Black Wall Street. Those were the three main blocks. You're talking about 21 movie theaters, auto mechanic shops, dentists, doctors' offices, banks, movie theaters. So these were times where black people were still being lynched. Yeah. Remember, lynchings, you can get a book by Ralph Ginsberg and it's called The 100 Years of Lynching, or you can get another book called Without Sanctuary, and it is a documentary of the lynchings in America from 1865 to 1965. How did they do that in the 1920s? You're not going to tell me we can't do that. Not that we're totally free, but if they could do that then in the 1920s in Tulsa, Oklahoma, it's hard for me to believe that we can't do it now.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
On that subject matter there, one thing that will help us start this process is spending our money in our own community.
That's what they did there, Dominic. That's what they did. Speak on it.
Support the black-owned businesses here in York. If you're going to buy some hair, go buy it from that sister around the corner there.
Now, is there a sister that has hair stuff here?
I know we got a sister that has a hair care products business here. I don't know exactly what she sells in there, but if she's not selling hair, we need to help her get some hair in there.
Sister Alicia, is there a hair shop here in York that sells everything you need? You got your hair all did today.
And if not, I might start selling some hair. So
okay, and she's in Dallastown? Laverne. Well, we need to look her up so we can support her.
We got to recycle them dollars in our
Definitely.
own communities. We have to. If you notice.
Now, Dominic, you know I'm going to give you the other side. But let's say her name is Sister LaQuisha. That's so ghetto. But we got to laugh sometime. Sister LaQuisha got a hair shop, but hers is $5 more than the Koreans around the corner. What do you say about that?
With that, you have to show support. You got to ignore that additional
sacrifice.
$5. Yeah. You got to, that $5 that you're investing in that sister is eventually going to be invested back into your community. You have to look at the long run picture. This ain't about me and you today. This is about our kids and our grandkids 20, 30, 40, 50 years from today. What are we leaving them?
Right.
What are we doing for them so that they don't have to walk the same path we walked?
Right.
So
That's
you may
a
have to
mouthful.
spend that extra $5. And with that extra $5, don't walk into these black-owned businesses asking for a discount. And I'll speak on my own business, for example. My credit repair service is vital. You need to have your credit in good standing. If you're not going to ask Lexington Law Firm for a discount, you shouldn't ask me for a discount. I'm performing the same service, and actually it's a better service because it's a more personalized service. So don't go into these small minority-owned businesses asking for discounts. We're trying to keep our lights on. Just because we're business owners don't mean we're wealthy. We're struggling just like you guys. We just chose to struggle for ourselves and work for ourselves. That's the only difference.
And most likely, the reason why it's a small markup is because they're just trying to, to keep up. I remember seeing something, I don't know, it might have been McDonald's or one of them places, and a brother, when I was in Durham, and he said they got the money to sell hamburgers 69 cents. He said, I can't sell no hamburgers for no 69 cents. I think he had like one of those small little, because this is South, so it's a little more spread out. A lot more spread out than here. He said, I can't do that, Brother Sharif. And he was breaking it down. He said, you see this all the time where McDonald's will get a hamburger for 69 cents. He said, man, I'll be sleeping on the corner if I try to sell a hamburger for 69
Let's
cents.
keep it to the example we were already looking at with the hair care products. Well, the Asian hair care businesses, they buy in bulk together. So it's not just one retailer going to the distributor. They're going, 10 different retailers are going together. So they're getting
10 different, maybe 10 different Asian businesses, but they buy things in bulk together.
They will buy it together for a discount.
Wow.
So rather than go as an individual and pay that high price because you're only buying a limited amount, partner up with other people that offer similar products in different areas, and you guys buy in bulk. That's how you reduce your overhead.
With the small amount of black businesses, at least in this area, how will they partner if your business ain't even related?
Well, if you look at York, Harrisburg, Lancaster, Central Pennsylvania, that is a market. And we have to look at it that way. York is not its own market. Lancaster is not its own market. Central Pennsylvania, the Susquehanna Valley, is a market. And if you're a business owner, that's how you should be looking at it. I'm sure there's a black hair care product business in Lancaster. I'm sure there's one in Harrisburg. So if there's only one in each city, now we got 3. Y'all 3 go buy together. Save some money, reduce your overhead. This will improve your sustainability and increase the longevity of your business.
Man, it's people really feeling what you're talking about. Yeah, they're basically saying, don't be asking for discounts. You don't go to Walmart asking for a discount. That's what my brother Angelo said. And he said, Sister Faith Holly said we need businesses and get grants. So that's what they were talking there. I had something on my mind. It slipped my mind that fast, but yeah, that's deep about buying things in bulk. Oh, I know what I wanted to bring up. You talked about sustainability, and I told my sister I would give her a shout out. Sister's Soul Food on the corner of Queen. Is that College Avenue?
Queen and Cottage Place.
Queen and Cottage Place. They're open, I think, Wednesday through Sunday now. I think now I don't know about Sunday. I know that when I was there about 2 weeks ago, she said she was going to test out Sunday because that's their worship day, and they did it, and that day was successful. But I don't know if she's open on a regular basis on Sunday. But I'm gonna just say they're open Wednesday through Saturday. I think she opens up around 12. I forgot to bring the flyer.
11 to 7.
11
Wednesday
to 7
through Friday. And 11 to 5 on Saturday.
Okay, you got the hours down. Well, now this sounds like a simple question. What do we need to? It is absolutely no reason that the only soul food restaurant in this area shouldn't survive, thrive. Matter of fact, they should have one on every corner of the town. Like, what do we need? It sounds like a simple question, but what do we need to do to make sure they don't even not only sustain but grow?
Well, a restaurant is a very complex and very risky business. And the reason you
even though people like to eat,
even though they like to eat, that's the reason you don't see a lot of black-owned restaurants in York, or even the white-owned restaurants, Asian-owned. The Asian-owned restaurants seem to stay open longer than most others.
Right.
We all love Chinese food,
right.
But what you're seeing is when you open a restaurant, your clientele has to have that discretionary income to patronize your business more than once a week. If you look at soul food and who our target market is, if you're only targeting the people that live in the city, the people that look like you, well, there's not enough of us that have that discretionary income to patronize that business 2 and 3 times a week. So any restaurant owner, your clientele must be very diverse if you want longevity.
So she would have to open up the menu, you're saying, to bring in
not
more
necessarily open the menu, but you got to get out into the community. You got to let people know where you are, what you have.
She does have a big billboard. I did see it down there on Princess. Is it Princess and Queen? Somewhere I seen a big billboard.
Huge
there.
billboard there. But that billboard ain't going to convince somebody to drive to the corner of Queen and Cottage Place.
Right. I was thinking about that.
Sometimes you may have to take that meal to where they're at, get them comfortable, and then they'll come to you. But location is key.
Right.
Location, especially when you have a restaurant, because not everybody's going everywhere just for your food.
Man, I'm really the audience out there. I hope y'all are enjoying this much as I am. This is a thorough education. The title of this topic was called "Up You Mighty Race, Accomplish What You Will" by our great ancestor Marcus Garvey. If it wasn't for the greatness of Marcus Garvey, I would change it. You're gonna learn today. That's what I would change it to. But our sister Miss Holly said that it's a restaurant called Cornbread West with April Collier on the corner of King and West Street. Now, is that where the stakeout used to be?
That's where the stakeout was.
I was just there when we were walking the streets. I didn't see that.
April's getting ready to open up there.
She's getting ready to open up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So support.
Would that be soul food?
I'm not sure. She's more than
It
likely.
says
That-
Cornbread West.
Well, with that name, I would assume. But
Right.
yeah, and we've all had April's food. We know how good the food is. We have to support.
Right.
We gotta support her business. We gotta support this restaurant.
and all the people there that's in walking
Exactly.
distance. You don't necessarily need a car. Right? I mean, there's so many people there, in walking distance. Once again, there's just no reason for nothing like that, not to survive.
Yes.
Do you want to touch on our concern about the education system here in York, PA?
Definitely do.
That's the future. I mean, there's no rocket science. Our youth need to be properly educated. I believe, how I roll. I believe that them not knowing their self is a huge reason why we have the violence that we have. Because if you love yourself, you're not going to hurt your brother. And I brought a book today, and I encourage people to read this book and get this book. It's called What They Never Told You in Black History class, and it talks about the pyramids that we built, talks about how Buddha was black, and they have a big colossal statue there in China, and they omit this. Look at the cornrows with Buddha, like the cornrows with Allen Iverson, the thick lips, the broad nose. Like, who else has those features? And before you get into that, Brother Dommonick, I believe that our parents and us as parents, we are duty bound to educate our children about themselves. Like, with me being a therapist, I go to a lot of different places to do therapy. They don't just come to me. I go to the summer camps, people's homes, schools, daycares, and I've been at these summer camps, and I don't even know other way to say it. I'm trying to figure it out. I was about to ask Alicia earlier, like, who is Kiki? They singing this song, Kiki, do you love me?
Drake song.
I'm like, but this is what, knew it verbatim. And
But don't know algebra.
yeah, but don't know their math, don't know their science.
Yeah.
I'm like, Kiki, do you love me? I'm like, I'm old school. You never used to tease me back in the day. I'm still stuck in the 70s with the Ozzy brothers, Frankie Beverly and Mays. And I was like, I got a niece in North Carolina named Kiki. Did she get famous and I didn't know it? Knew the song verbatim.
Yeah.
Verbatim, but don't know their basic education. Like Marvin Gaye said, what's going on? Tell
Well,
me.
fella tests in reading comprehension, but can recite that song word for word, can do every dance move they see in the video. And education, I'm not even going to talk about the school district. They, believe me, I'm in the schools. I see how hard those people are working and what they're dealing with. And I'm going to be totally honest. A lot of y'all need to get with your kids. Your kids are very unruly in class. I'm going to be totally honest. I'm there. I'm not a teacher, so I can say some things that they probably want to say, but they can't say. I spent some time in one classroom, a math class, an 8th grade math class. When I walked in and it was me and a few other guys, the teacher was in tears because the kids were so unruly. This teacher has her room split. She has 5 desks in the front. She calls that the learning section. Everybody else just goes to the back or does whatever they want. Yeah, this is a 8th grade math class.
Getting ready to go into
Getting
high
ready
school.
to go to high school because of what the teacher has to deal with. This woman told me she will give every kid on that in her class a 60 on their tests just so they have a chance to pass the final. Or if they pass the final, they will pass her class for the year. This is a 8th grade mathematics class. Because the kids are so unruly in the class, this is how the teacher has to instruct.
And so you're saying that maybe 4, 5, 6 students out of a 20,
Out of
25.
about 20 to 25. There are 5 that consistently want to learn on a daily basis. And this ain't no fault of the school district or the teachers.
No, we're not attacking
This
anymore.
is how the kids are in the schools. And I say it because I'm in the schools and I see it with my own eyes. But
And,
I want to address something else because we don't have enough volunteers going in to help out in the school district.
mm-hmm.
There's a program in York County. Actually, it's a nationwide program called Junior Achievement.
Mm-hmm.
Junior Achievement goes into K through 8 and high schools with volunteers, professional volunteers from the local community, teach the kids about business, teach the kids about politics, about community. Last count, there were 2 Junior Achievement volunteers in York City,
In the whole city?
in all of York City School District. 2. Because we're not volunteering to help out our own community, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
I sat on the board of directors for Big Brothers Big Sisters for a year. Big Brothers Big Sisters, York and Adams County. The entire 2 years I was on that board of directors, there were over 60 kids on the waiting list, Black and Spanish kids from York City, who could not get a big brother or big sister for 2 years. We're not volunteering to help out our own community, y'all.
And I want the listening audience to know, I'm not just saying this because this is my brother and longtime friend. If you back up to what we talked about in the very beginning, that the problems that we have, whether it's violence, education, politics, it's a blueprint. You can take this anywhere you go. So what you talked about with the classroom, I saw it with my own eyes in North Carolina, because what I do now, I did in North Carolina. It's just I'm in Pennsylvania now. I was a counselor there, and I would get the children that had behavior, mental, and emotional problems. If you came to see Mr. Sharif, as they called me, it wasn't because you were on point. It was because you had some issues. I would get typically to the school at about 8:30. No sooner, it was 8:35. I didn't even have time to put my bag down. Mr. Sharif, will you come to the office? I'm like, man, I just walked in the door. In there, little Jamal, little Kiki in there. I'm like, what are you doing? I got put out of class. I'm like, what are you just walked in the door. What'd you get put out of class for? One of the young men texting his mom. Now you just got dropped off on a bus at 7:45. I imagine you got on a bus around 7:15. Why are you texting your mom? It's not your girlfriend, it's your mom, and you don't need no girlfriend anyway. This is literally why they're getting kicked out of. They texting the teacher saying, put your phone away. And it was a policy in North Carolina that if they confiscate your phone, they literally could keep it until the end of the school year if you're disrupting the class, playing with your phone, unless it's some emergency. So the behavior of some of our youth is absolutely atrocious. And when I would talk to these students, I would tell them, you're making it difficult for me to advocate for you. How can I possibly advocate for you when you're in there acting like a total fool? So you're not making this up. You're not beating up on the parents. This stuff is actually going on. And Sister Holly said their behavior is atrocious. And she said cussing and walking out of class and all kind of stuff.
Hey, bruh. I've witnessed kids just get up out of their class and go sit in another class.
Can you blame any of this on racism?
It's a systematic thing, and I don't think it's direct racism on the parts of the people who are in the schools and in the institutions. If we look at us as black men and what America has planned for us, the plan is to get most of us some type of felony or some type of conviction, so we have a record, which takes us out the game. If we look at York City, York County, for example, how many brothers that got felonies? Probably more that have than don't. Once you have that felony on your back, chances are it's going to take you out the household for a little while, so you're not there to raise your son. Teach that young man how to become a man. It is so detrimental to your earning potential. You get a felony on your back, you are limited. You better start your own business. So you're out the home, your income is limited, you're putting a lot more stress on mom. These are factors leading up to the kids acting up in school.
Right, because if a man isn't present, it just changes the whole landscape. And anyone that's heard some of my talks on YouTube and Facebook Live, I know they're raw, but it's the truth. And I've talked about they did like a test on National Geographic. They went into a community of elephants there in Africa, and they looked and they surveyed the family of elephants. It was the father elephant, the mother, and a male elephant. While the family was intact, the male child elephant behaved fine. Then they removed the father elephant. Not only did the male elephant become disruptive, he started killing other elephants in the community in Africa, and they was showing the importance of a father, which takes me back to that old hip hop song back in the day by Ed O.G. and the Bulldogs. Be a father to your child. We would like it that you stay with your mother, but that isn't always the case. You can divorce her, but I don't mean you divorce your children and become non-existent in their life. You might as well just put a big billboard up and say, here's my children, just do it with them what you want.
That structure has to be there.
Mm-hmm.
We need more male role models here in York.
Mm-hmm.
We need them badly.
And that volunteer thing, with me just getting back, my good brother James Way, he got me into a particular school there where he's at, and I started doing free counseling and therapy, mostly mentoring at the school that he is at. It happened at the very end of the year, so I'm going to see if I can reconnect with him so I can go back into that school and talk to the children that are in those particular classrooms, but try to prevent them from getting into those disciplinary classes. So the volunteer work is crucial. They're looking for help. I'm not no teacher, but I can give information and some interventions to help deal with anger and frustration and depression and all that. That's my field, so I do it for free. So, and he was asking for help. He said, please come here. And that's our brother James Way. Bring him on the show eventually too. So
one thing, man, that I experienced in the schools with the kids, the young brothers in particular, we had an incident where when we would walk into the schools, the kids immediately, they would take their hat off, get themselves together. Hey, Mr. Chatman. Hey, Mr. So-and-so. Show us respect. So we ran in one day, and one of the hall monitors witnessed this. So the hall monitor said to the kid, how come you don't show us that respect? Or how come you don't do that for us? Kid said flat out, because we don't respect your punk. I can't bleep that out myself. But
right. Wow. He told him
this
straight.
Is what the kid said to the hall monitor.
And children are usually brutally honest.
And all we did was, number one, we demanded respect from the kids. We were not going to allow them to treat us like peers.
Right.
And then we showed the kids that we cared about them. Once they realized we were there because we cared about them,
right,
they were wide open,
change
man.
their
They
whole
became
mindset.
just as soft as they could be, bro. Yep.
Alicia, how much time we got? About 7 minutes? Okay. So we got about 7 minutes, Dominic. I mean, we could go on for hours, man. I mean, you've gave so much valuable information about business, finance, importance of credit, real estate. Anything you want to finish out, the floor is yours. We got about 6 minutes left. You can reiterate about the program. Can't talk about it enough. Anything you want to finish out with, drop some more jewels on us.
Definitely. Definitely got to continue to stress how important it is that we all attend this African American Leadership Roundtable 2. This will be the event if you want to network, if you need to meet somebody who's in a field that you're interested in getting in. The people will be at this event here. If you feel nervous about starting your own business, come talk to somebody who's already doing it. If you want to improve your education, come talk to somebody who's involved in the education field. If you're interested in politics, or if you want to find out what will happen if you vote and what happens if you don't vote, come down here and talk to somebody. This is all about us networking, getting to know each other so that we can start recycling our dollars in our community, so that we can start to take control of our education system, so that we can start to take ownership to some of the land and real estate, so that we become involved in the development that's taking place all around us, y'all. That's what this event is about, and that is why it is so important that we all attend this event.
And the Chatman Group is located 23 East Princess.
Yes,
we want to give that out. I think Sister Alicia's been cycling it on the screen for us, but we want to give the hours and the location.
Yes, sir. Anybody, if you're interested in starting with your own personal finances, whether it's money management, credit repair, income taxes, buying your first home, buying your second home, or an investment property, Chatman Group is located at 23 East Princess Street, right downtown York, near McDonald's and the Grand Falloons. We're open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturdays by appointment only.
Okay. And just a note for the listening audience, next week is going to be a very powerful show. Going through some things, taking care of my mother. I ask for y'all prayers for my mother, Miss Linda, and depending on what's going on with her, I may be out of the country, but that don't mean the show stops. So we've talked about unity. Brother Dommonick's talked about unity. So the show is not going to stop. I could easily go on my YouTube channel and pull up the hundreds of videos I have on there, the ones that they wouldn't cancel this show for, but I could do it. But I'm not going to do that. We're going to bring together, and let me say how proud I am of the people in the community that's been coming together. Like, I saw your interview with Sister Tanya, and she actually came back on Facebook Live to talk about your interview with me, and then she was talking about the Hour of Power. You got the movement, you got Latino Unidos, CASA. Different people are doing a lot of different things. I like the way we're coming together, and of course this meeting that you're having. But next week, which will be the 22nd at 8 p.m., the Hour of Power will still be rolling. Sister Alicia will be making sure the ship is gone, but we're going to be joining forces with the movement. With Sister Tanya will be on here, Sister Tanya Larry, and she's going to talk about the sister circle that took place back in July, I believe, at Albemarle Park. About 15-20 sisters showed up at Albemarle Park, and they had a sister circle. So she's going to talk about that. She's going to talk about how to make that grow and to encourage sisters to participate in a sister circle. We need that. It's a lot of sisters hurting with a lot of different things and a lot of different issues. And even if you're not, even if you just meet another sister, there's the positive thing in it. We're not trying to get in your business. We're just trying to create a safe circle where sisters can come and discuss issues. You don't got to worry about if you got United Healthcare or Cigna and all that. This is free. Free services with people who are very experienced in helping our sisters. So next week on the Hour of Power at 8 p.m. On Channel 16 Local Access TV and streaming live on my Facebook page, even though most likely I won't be here, the movement will join forces with the Hour of Power, and Sister Tanya is going to talk about the Sister Circle and the importance of joining that. So I'm happy about that. So tune in next week. So Dommonick, this ain't gonna be the last time that we hook up, brother. You're welcome on this platform, and I hope you create your own so you can just roll with it. And anytime you want to roll with me, the floor is open, man.
I definitely appreciate you, man. Appreciate the opportunity to come on the Hour of Power. I love your show, bro. Keep doing what you're doing. You are needed here in York, man.
Well, we're gonna work together. We didn't get in this alone, and we ain't gonna get out of it alone. So we gotta work together, support black business, and support all these different movements trying to lift the mind, body, and soul of our people. We leave you in peace as we came. Assalamu alaikum. That simply means peace unto you. Thank you.
Good night.
Sit still for a couple seconds.
You know what? We
still
didn't.
going.